Every empire says our money is safe. Every government says our word will always hold. But history always gives the same answer. You're wrong. From Rome to France, from the Confederacy to modern Lebanon, people have woken up to the same morning again and again. They looked around and saw that the money they had spent a lifetime saving had lost its value. Their salaries couldn't keep up. Their futures had been stolen by the very systems they trusted. Collapse isn't rare. In fact, it's the rule. The real question is, when the system collapses, how will you protect yourself? The biggest financial mistake is thinking, it'll always be like this. We look at the numbers in our bank accounts, at the cash in our wallets, and think they're solid. But money isn't solid. Money is just trust. And trust can vanish overnight. That's why history is both cruel and instructive. Every collapse leaves behind a lesson. What can truly be protected, and what must eventually be let go. And if you look closely, the winners of each era were never the same people. The winners weren't those who believed the most, but those who doubted first. Take Byzantium, for example. After the fall of Western Rome, the Eastern Roman Empire lived on for another 1,000 years. Its economy was secured by a gold coin called the solidus. It was so reliable that everyone from Europe to Asia accepted it. It was, in a sense, the dollar of the Middle Ages. But then they made the same mistake. You remember how Rome ruined its silver coins by diluting them, right? Byzantium eventually did the same with gold. They reduced its purity, mixing in cheaper metals. At first, no one noticed, but then trust began to crumble. A coin that once inspired global confidence suddenly became a deception, and the economy collapsed. What was left? Neither the government's promises nor the currency's value. Only those with real gold or real land stood tall. Here's the first lesson. States always debase their money in the end. And when that happens, value always flees to what can't be printed. But sometimes collapse isn't the government's fault. Sometimes life just hits hard. In the mid-14th century, the Black Death devastated Europe. Half the population died. Cities emptied, villages disappeared. But something strange happened in the economy. With fewer workers, labor became valuable. The survivors gained bargaining power. Houses, fields, and land were left behind. Those with cash or savings seized the opportunity. Sound familiar? The same thing happened during COVID. Supply chains broke down, governments printed trillions. Those with liquidity bought homes, stocks, businesses. Those living paycheck to paycheck fell behind. History says, crises elevate the prepared and punish the unprepared. And sometimes collapse destroys even the too big to fail. In the 1340s, Florence was Europe's financial capital, but its bankers had lent enormous sums to the King of England. When he defaulted, they all went bankrupt. Banks fell, people lost their savings. Florence's wealth vanished overnight. And that day, people learned, there's no such thing as too big to fail. Banks exist for profit, not for your safety. This story repeats itself again and again. In Florence in 2008, in Lebanon, the winners weren't those who trusted the system most, but those who realized when it would fall. The American Civil War taught a similar lesson. The North printed greenbacks, the South printed graybacks. In other words, paper money, lots of it. The result? Rampant inflation. By the end of the war, the South's money wasn't even worth toilet paper. The rest were left holding worthless paper. The same thing happened in France. After the revolution, they issued a new currency, supposedly backed by confiscated church land. But they printed too much, prices exploded, and people rejected the money. Bread riots broke out. The revolution devoured itself, and once again the same result. Those who held things that couldn't be printed won. 97, the Asian financial crisis. Thailand borrowed heavily in US dollars, and when its currency collapsed, everything fell like dominoes. Economies shrank, unemployment soared. Once again, ordinary people lost. And once again, the same lesson. If you borrow in someone else's currency, the first storm will drown you. Even today, the story continues. In 2019, Lebanese banks shut down. People woke up to find their accounts frozen. Their money had lost 90% of its value. Crowds lined up outside banks, begging to withdraw their own savings. But the answer was always the same. There's nothing left. And that day, everyone learned. The money in your bank isn't really yours. It's a loan you gave to the bank, and they can choose not to give it back. Who survived? Those who held gold, those with assets abroad, those who withdrew early. The rest locked inside the system. The same pattern repeated in 2008, 2020, 2023. Homes vanished, wages eroded, banks failed. And people finally realized there is no such thing as a safe system. So what can you do? History gives the answer. In Byzantium, gold worked. During the Black Death, cash. In Florence, skepticism. In the Confederacy, goods. In France, land. In Asia, no debt. In Lebanon, acting early. Every era is different, but the theme is always the same. What's real always defeats false promises. And here's the twist. Collapse isn't just disaster. It's also opportunity. For the unprepared, it's ruin. For the prepared, it's ascent. After the Black Death, peasants became landowners. In 2008, those with cash bought homes for cheap. Every collapse is a transfer, from the trusting to the prepared. But it's not just assets that save you, with skills do too. The baker who makes bread, the craftsman who repairs tools, the farmer who grows food, the trader who keeps goods moving. They didn't just survive, they thrived. Because in crises, money loses meaning. But production never does. People still eat, live, and work. And those who can meet those needs never stay poor for long. That's real protection. Not blind faith in governments, not trust in banks, but real value, real skill, and keeping your eyes open. Every crisis is a transformation, from blind faith to awareness, from paper to value, from waiting to acting. And remember, history doesn't repeat itself exactly, but if you ignore it, it will crush you just the same. If this gave you a new perspective, subscribe. History has already given the answers. I'm just here to show you where to look.